this. Now we were able to look at the kind of data that you need to be able to collect, and also the methods for collecting the data, because that was also a very key segment in the class that we were doing. So what I want us to go over today is the data visualization part, and the class is going to be divided into two parts. I hope you all got the clip on Flourish, and we were able to. I also hope that we were able to try out the assignment that was posted there, because the challenge that we have is we do not have, not the assignment, but going over the clip to be able to understand the basic concepts of how to use Flourish. So what I just want us to go through over today are two segments. I want us to study data visualization in a bit more depth, and to be able to, and also to be able to go through the tool called Datawrapper. So I just want us to go through it immediately. So what I want to do is I want to share my screen. I want to share my screen. So what we are going to do is we are just going to go through data visualization, because data visualization is a very it's quite a wide field, and what we need to be able to do is to understand how you can be able to use a specific
Are you there, Steve? Are you there, Steve? Steve, are you there?
I've lost him again. He's offline.
That is sad. So guys, in case you've joined using a computer, just go to your browser. Go to your browser. Like, let me just go to a new tab. Go to a new tab like this and just type Datawrapper. So this is Datawrapper. It will come this one here, datawrapper.de. So you just click it. This is the tool that you're going to learn today. So if you're joining using a computer, here is Datawrapper link in the chat box. Just click on that, and then once you are done with that, yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, Bida, you are sharing your screen? Bida? Hello? Hello, Bida, are you sharing your screen? I see that there's a screen that's being shared. So we already said that a graph is a pictorial representation of or a diagram that represents data or values in an organized manner, and the points on the graph often represent the relationship between two or more things. And then a visualization is any technique for creating images, diagrams, or animations to communicate a message. Visualization through visual imagery has been an effective way to communicate both abstract and concrete ideas since the dawn of humanity. Just going to go through the classifications. And there are two main classifications. So I'm just going to go through them. The first one is computer-aided visualizations. And there are different types of computer-aided visualizations. They are static and there are motion graphs. So static graphs are those graphs that do not change dynamically, and they are literally static as the name implies, whereby they do not change over time or in the sequence. They do not have a sequence, but they just have one point. But for motion pictures, you can be able, for motion visualizations, they can be able to change over time, so that you can be able to actually see that there is that difference, and there is that change in the visualization, and also in how the appearance looks like. And then the second type of visualization is handcrafted visuals, which we are going to look at as we go along. A common data visualization tools, just going to go through them. They are quite a number. The first one is Datawrapper, which is a simple and easy to use tool which offers charts, maps, and tables visualizations. It focuses on mobile responsiveness and ease of use to get more people to engage in visualizing. So we are going to look at this tool before the end of this class. Then Flourish, I hope you are all able to go through the clip, the YouTube recording that we sent on the WhatsApp group for Flourish. It's a very interesting tool. It's actually one of my favorites because it's very easy to use and it can be able to visualize. There are quite a number of visualizations even on the free package. So it lets you create interactive maps and charts. Those are built by a data studio called Kale, based in London. And it offers beautifully designed data visualization templates. So what it does is it just gives you a template, and then you can be able to feed it your data. Is going to give you the exact same template, and then of course you can be able to customize based on the title, name, the axis labels, the colors that you want to display. If it's a motion picture, how long do you want it to be, and stuff like that. So it's a very easy to use tool. Then Power BI, it's a bit of a more advanced tool, and I just decided to include it here so that in case somebody might be intrigued by it, they can be able to go and explore it on their own. So it's a cloud-based business analytics service from Microsoft that enables anyone to visualize and analyze data with better speed and efficiency. So what Power BI does is it gives you the ability to be able to really drill down into your data to be able to get insights. It has those packages that can be able to give you insights from your data. Even sometimes when you do not know what you're looking for, you can just be able to go through the tool. It has ways that you can be able to drill into your data and see relationships that you might not have anticipated or outliers that you might not have expected to see, so that you can be able to make better, more informed business decisions. So Power BI is used mainly by business people who are more into the analysis of business, to be able to get insights to improve their services and the products that they offer to their customers. Then Tableau Public is slightly similar to Power BI in terms of the interface, but of course it does It has more robust tools for data storytellers. Of course, it has a free version, but the challenge is that whatever you create in the free version is publicly visible. Then we have Timeline, which is an open source tool that enables anyone to build visually rich interactive timelines. So let's say, for example, if you want to visualize, so I hope you guys can be able to hear me. So let's say if you want to visualize a time scale, let's say between the time South Sudan gained independence in 2011 up to 2023. Timeline gives you a very easy way to be able to just get a template from the website, then customize it into what you want it to appear like, and then put in the information that you need and stuff like that. And you can be able to go through it and share it with your audience. And then I have put a link here that you can be able to open and check on more tools that you can be able to use for the visualizations. These were just examples so that you can be able to cover at least a wide range of options. So what we are now going to do is we are going to look at types of graphs, because I know graphs, there are quite a number. And what we are going to do is we are going to look at each graph, the kind of data you can be able to use to visualize, the kind of customization that you can be able to look at, and how you can be able to apply then as we go along. So what we are going to look at are those 6 types of visualization graphs. So we have charts, so things like line charts, bar graphs, column charts, tables. So you find that some tools like Flourish and also Power BI, they give you the ability to be able to actually visualize your data using tables. So let's say if you have a data range that has, let's say customer data for 5 years, and it's being generated daily. So what Power BI and also Flourish to an extent gives you the ability is to be able to group your data in such a way that you can be able to see the customer transactions for each individual year or each individual month, depending on the kind and size of the data that you have. So that's why we have tables as a visualization graph. And of course, we have graphs. Graphs and charts are almost the same. Then maps. Maps are, of course, self-explanatory in the sense that what we have is things like, let's say you want to do a map for South Sudan, you can be able to do a map for, let's say, Eastern Africa, which countries are members of WTO, which countries are members of WTO, which countries have, let's say, just depending on the kind of data that you want to visualize, you can be able to use maps as a very appropriate tool. And infographics are those cards that you can be able to customize to be able to explain. They are really not charts and they are not graphs, but they are kind of cards that you can be able to customize and make your point very clearly explained. And you can be able to make infographics using several tools. Power BI is an example of an infographic tool. So like you see those visualizations whereby you find that somebody is using, let's say, gender to be able to explain population size. So like, let's say they put male and female, and then the male, let's say, is 3/4 filled, and then the female is completely filled, depending on the color and the scale, and also of course the legend and how they can be able to explain, can be able to really customize and make very informative graphs. And then dashboards, of course, I really hope that we have interacted with dashboards. So these are web-based mostly, and you find that you have, let's say, a dashboard on the report on, let's say, for example, the issue of COVID-19. So you can be able to really create nice dashboards, especially using not Flourish, but using Power BI to be able to create dashboards that can be able to really explain your points, all your points in one instance, but capturing as much information as possible. I'm going to try and move as fast as possible because of time. this getting stuck? Anyway, I can just explain it here. So can you guys be able to see my visualization clearly? My page, my screen. I'm trying to share it here. It's difficult myself.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's working now. So before we get into the specific kind of graphs, I want us to look at characteristics of effective graphs. So characteristics of effective graphs, there are 4 characteristics. The first characteristic is avoid chart junk. So by that we mean do not make too much information on one graph. Just create a very simple graph that is able to explain at the point that you are trying to put across, so that you do not have too much information cluttered on the graph. And then another one is it should not have no background color. And the problem with background color is it takes away the attention of the audience from the graph that we are trying to visualize and the communication that we are trying to pass them. Because remember that we are not just doing a visualization for the sake of a visualization, but we want to actually pass a specific message to the audience. So if you have a lot of background color, let's say shouting, it takes away the attention of the audience. And you see, we live in a generation where the attention span is reducing each and every time. So anything small can be able to put somebody off and just completely make them disappear without taking the message that you want to pass to them. Then of course, no grid lines, unless of course if you are doing precise visualizations. So by precise, I mean exact. And then of course, do not have the legend and the labels are placed next to the series. So what the whole point of an effective graph is try to create the attention, try to draw the attention of the audience to the graph, to the information that you are trying to pass. Don't have any other side shows that can be able to take their attention. Then of course, what constitutes a bad chart? No labels. So that means a good chart should have clearly labeled. It should be clearly labeled. Wrong labels are very, very dangerous because they can pass a very wrong message. And by a wrong label, you can find that somebody sometimes puts in the title that half of the population of South Sudan have attained university education, and then they put a graph there that represents a third. That is very, very bad. Of course, we should not have too many labels. So too many labels is also a characteristic of a bad chart. So I'm just going to look at characteristics. The first characteristic is temporal. So data visualization belonging to this category satisfy 2 conditions. 1, they are linear, and 2, they are one-dimensional. They normally feature lines that either stand alone or overlap with each other with a start and finish time. We're going to look at examples. Examples of scatter plots, polar area diagrams, time series, timelines, line graphs. So those are some of the examples of a temporal category of data visualization. So what it means is that the visualization is linear, so it follows a particular pattern, and it is one-dimensional. So it does not have like different parameters that we are trying to visualize. Straight to the point. Number of students who did secondary education certificate in 2023. Very straight to the point and clear. So we're just going to look at some of the examples. So scatter plots. So this is a graph in which the values of 2 variables are plotted along 2 axes. The pattern of the resulting point revealing a correlation is used to determine if there's any correlation between the 2 variables. So you find that one axis we put one variable, and the other axis we put the other variable. So what we are doing is each point represents a relationship in a particular. So let's say, for example, for 1905, what was the index, what was the population, and stuff like that. So its uses is used to determine whether or not 2 variables have a relationship or a correlation. So that is what a scatter plot does. A line plot or a line graph is a type of chart used to show information that changes over time. is plotted using several points connected by straight lines. So notice that for the scatter plots, there is no connection of the points, because what we are doing is we are just determining a relationship between the two variables. But for a line graph, we have to use a connecting line to be able to explain. So it's used, for example, to highlight sales over time or rainfall for a city over months or years. So a time sequence is a sequence of data points that occur in successive order over some period of time, useful for economic forecasting, budget analysis, and stuff like that. And polar area diagrams, similar to a usual pie chart, except sectors are equal angles and differ rather in how far each sector extends from the center of the circle. It's used to plot cyclic phenomena, e.g. counts of tests by month or count of, let's say, enrollments and stuff like that. That's going to move a bit faster because our time is far much spent. Hierarchical is the second category. So these visualizations are those So these are those that order groups within larger groups. A hierarchy visualization is best suited if you are looking to display clusters of information, especially if they flow from a single original point. Examples include a tree diagram, a ring chart, a tree diagram, a ring chart. So we're just going to look at examples. So I'm just going to explain a bit more here because I know maybe I might have moved a bit faster. So a ring chart is used to visualize hierarchical data depicted by concentric circles. So the circle in the center represents the root node with the hierarchy moving outwards from the center. So you find that here now what we have visualization on, let's say, regional sales, sales by region. So we have the eastern region and the western region. So you see each of them has its own share of the total percentage number of sales that have been made during that specific period of time. And then from the regions, you can be able to segment it now into each individual product. So for Eastern region, you have product A, product B, product C, and so on and so forth. So that's what we mean by hierarchy. So what we have is hierarchy is sort of classes. So we have total data. Then from the total data, we have segmentation by region, then segmentation by sales numbers, segmentation by sales representative and stuff like that. Now, tree diagram, I think we have all done this in our high school, used to show something like a probability. So a tool that helps calculate the number of possible outcomes of a problem, assess these potential documents, these potential outcomes in an organized way. So what we are doing is we are just determining the probability that an event will be able to occur. So that hierarchy is a network. So data sets connected connectively to data sets. Network data visualizations show how they relate to one another. Example are matrix charts, node-link diagrams, so add clouds, alluvial diagrams. So these are some examples of network graphs. So we have a matrix, we have node-link, we have word clouds, we have alluvial. Let's go to look at the examples. So a node-link. So a node-link diagram is also called a network graph or a network map. It's a visualization that shows how things are interconnected with the use of nodes or vertices and link lines to represent their connections and help illuminate the type of relationships between a group of entities. So you find that we have links, we have networks. So let's say this node, this particular node has a link to these two nodes, but then you see that it has several other nodes that are connected directly to it without any other connection to any other nodes. And then of course we have things like outliers, things that are standalone. They only connect to one specific nodes. Then of course we have those that are based in the center of the spoke. They have much more connections and stuff like that. So if you a graph like this can easily be able to let's say display let's say connection flights or how many destinations you can be able to reach from a flight in a particular city. So let's say destination from Nairobi, destination from Juba, destination from, let's say, room back or something like that. So you find that an outlier like this might be, let's say, just room back connecting to Juba alone, having flights to Juba alone. But then you find that a place like Kigali has flights to several, to very many cities within the continent and also outside the various other continents. So that's why you can be able to really use something like a nothing diagram to be able to visualize data from data to be able to explain relationships. In a matrix chart, you see that we have a scale, we have product category, we have the revenue amount. So you see that the cost of goods is also being explained. So you can be able to really put as quite a number of variables just within this particular matrix. So you see now we have the sales here, we have the sales quota, we have the product category, we have the cost of goods. So you see we have included so many variables just on this one particular chart. And then you can now be able to see that accessories in the year 2014, quarter one, had this amount of revenue, and it had this amount of cost, the number of goods, the cost of goods. So you see, you can really be able to include quite a number of variables. So it does not limit you, let's say, to something like a line graph that can only be able to visualize, let's say, two categories, let's say time and cost, or time and, let's say, enrollment in schools. A matrix chart really gives you the ability to be able to really extrapolate the kind of connections that you can be able to make, and then be able to communicate clearly to your audience using just one tool, one visualization, instead of having to do several visualizations to be able to communicate the same message. Now, add cloud, because you can also be able to do this like that, like this, using Flourish. This is a tool method that displays how frequently words appear in a given body of text by making sense of each word proportional to its frequency. So in this word cloud, you see that the word big and the word data have appeared in the highest number of times. Then you see that words like also, words like set, words like larger have appeared in far much less time. So that's why they are smaller in proportion to those texts that are those words that have appeared more in the body of text. Multidimensional visualizations have multiple dimensions, just as the name indicates. It means that there are always two or more variables in the mix to create a 3D visualization. Because of the many concurrent layers and data sets, these types of visualization tends to be the most vibrant and eye-catching visuals. And another plus is that they can break down a ton of data down to key takeaways. So one thing you'll also notice is that these kinds of categories, sometimes you find one visualization that overlaps. So like for example, the one for matrix chart, it overlaps between different categories. So we're just going to look at examples. The first one is a stacked bar chart. This is more of like things like just, of course, it's a toned down version of the matrix chart. So stacked bar chart is where we are stacking the information by month. So, and then we are using the legend to be able to explain how each of the variables is represented. So it uses bars to show comparison to categories of data, but with the ability to break down and compare charts of a whole. In a pie chart, of course, you can be able to make a circular statistical graphic, depending on the slides to illustrate numerical proportion, the arc length of each slice, or the angle and the areas of the quantity it represents. So you find that this one, as opposed to, let's say, something like a ring chart, whereby how far a data point extends from the central node, it's used to highlight the frequency. Here we are just using the size of each block, if I can say that, the area of each slice of the whole pie chart. Now, Venn diagram are used to explain differences and similarities between two variables. So differences, so things that appear in this area where both circles overlap with each other, we'll put the similarities there. And then, of course, those that are only present in each variable, we'll put them away. So they are used to illustrate logical relationships between one, two or more sets of items. They serve to graphically organize things, highlighting how the items are similar and different. And a histogram is a plot that lets you discover and show the underlying frequency distribution or a set of continuous data. This allows the inspection of the data for its underlying distribution. So let's say, for example, if you have quite a number of data points, you can be able to use a histogram to be able to use representation of groups. So you see now this one is representation for groups from 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, so on and so forth. So what we are doing is we are using a histogram to really group the data in such a way that instead of having so many bar charts or so many column charts, you just use a histogram to be able to explain to be able to explain just a portion of the data grouped in terms of groups. The spatial data visualization relates to real-life physical locations of links are familiar maps with different data points. These types of data visualization are commonly used to display sales or acquisitions over time and can be most recognizable for their use in campaigns or to display market penetration in multinational corporations. So something like a flow map is a geospatial data visualization. So this is a flow map, for example, from one central hub, then displaying the different locations that you can be able to access. So you can even use this to be able to display air traffic visualization. Then a heat map is a visualization technique that shows multiple phenomenon as colors into dimensions. The variation in a color may be by hue or intensity, giving obvious visual cues to read about how the phenomenon is clustered or varies over space. So here now we have temperature for the years. So we have the years on one side and then the months, then you can see the intensity vary. And of course, you should have a scale to be able to explain between the highest and the lowest. A cartogram is a value by area maps which modify geographic features such as countries in proportion to some variable of interest such as population or vaccinations or COVID-19 or economic empowerment, development, stuff like that. These are popular georeference data visualizations that have been used for over centuries to illustrate patterns and trends in the world around us. And then, as we continue, there are some visualizations that are a bit more complicated, so I could not really be able to categorize them. So what I did is I just decided to include this portion to intrigue your mindset in such a way that really, because the intention of a class like this is we cannot cover all we need to cover in a short space of time. So what I did is I just decided to include them so that you can be able to go and research on your own. You're going to put this presentation in the Google Classroom and even most likely in the WhatsApp group so that you can be able to really pick one or at least one or two visualizations that you can be able to go and practice a lot on and be able to use in your work. I just decided to get some visualization done by Al Jazeera Labs. I remember in the class we had before, I told you that those guys are some of the champions of data visualization. So I just decided to include some of the graphs that they have done to be able to really show us how advanced the visualization is, to be able to really intrigue our attention, to be able to intrigue our minds, so we can be able to go and research more on the topic. So you see now this is a visualization of African Cup of Nations. So instead of doing just a normal bar chart, they decided to use these circles, and it really has a lot of information because it has the years, it has all the winners, and the number of times they have won. And then, of course, now in here, they put in the year in which each country has won. And then this is another one for holiday spending, a sort of infographic, but it has quite a lot of information. But if you want to pass an information on a particular topic, instead of having so many visualizations, you can also be able to bunch in the data as long as you can be able to clearly segment it and do not make it just a ball, it's just text, but have a variation. So have things like a map, have things like numbers and values and different colors to highlight specific areas. So a stream graph, this is somebody visualizing how they spend their time. Then of course some other cards. And I decided to just do for Ukraine alone. So trade, who buys Russian and Ukrainian goods. Then a map, so the threat of conflict comes. Then where are Ukrainians fleeing to? So that marks the end of the first part of the computer-aided graphics. So the next part I'm going to look at, we're just going to spend 10 minutes on it. So I'm just going to try and move a bit faster. They were done by one individual. Her name is Mona Chalabi. She's based in the United States, but she's of Iraqi descent. And what she does is that instead of using computers and stuff to be able to do her visualizations, she uses drawings, handcrafted. Like she just takes the pens and start doing the painting and stuff like that. And she realized that she's able to really communicate clearly. So the examples, all the handcrafted examples that I have included have been done by her. So let's say if you're a creative person, you want to go about, let's say, for example, if you're good in drawing, instead of having to start learning again how to do the visualizations on a machine, you can just, as long as you understand the basis of visualizations, you can be able to go about how to do the visualizations. So these are creating visualizations of data using hand-drawn or handmade visuals instead of computer-aided. So when one is not very skilled in computer-aided graphics, but is an artist, they can be able to use that. They can really be able to enhance the diversity. I'm just going to go through examples. The first one is she highlighted the number of decapitated animals found in New York first. So a chicken, a pigeon, a goat, a rabbit, a cat. And then the blood from the decapitated animals, she uses that to be able to show the scale. So she just puts it at the top, and then the scale she puts an inverse scale. So starting from 0 coming downwards towards 15, and of course she has the labels for each of them. Then space in America. So average parking space, average solitary confinement cell. So what she was doing with that is she was trying to create awareness that those people who are put in solitary confinement, the space that they're being given is quite small as compared to, let's say, parking space available for people within the country. And of course, how much P is a lot of P. And you see how creative she is. She uses a glass, she uses a can, she uses a bottle, and she's a huge bottle to be able to explain her point. And then what she did for this particular one is this picture was taken in Iraq. And then she uses that, she cuts it up and is able to just do the painting to represent, like to use that as a background to explain the point that she's trying to make on the wall in Iraq. And then for every dollar a white man earns, this is a very easy one to do. You can actually just use this even to display, let's say, for example, fluctuation and how much inflation the South Sudan pound has experienced over, let's say, a period of 3 or 4 or 5 years. But this one she was using it to represent for every $1 a white man earns, and then she uses different people of different descent. So Black women, Hispanic men, Native American women, and stuff like that. Then the general population, and then those who are working as artists, who are working in museums. So I just want you guys to notice something. For the creativity, the extent to which you can be able to create the visuals for handcrafted depends entirely on your own creativity. It's not limited. As long as you can be able to put together quite an interesting and a clearly labeled visualization, you are good to go. So this one now she's using M to represent men and then W to represent women. So general population, those who are working at artists. And then, so she was using this to create awareness on the disparity between the number of people in working in museums by gender. So you see here the number of men are quite many compared to the other two graphs. And then percentage not reporting crimes, then for car theft, domestic violence, rape, or sexual assault, you see how she's able to clearly label the visualization. This one, endangered species on a train. I think this one they had some animals inside, but I don't know why I was not able to capture that. And of course, being black and sick in the US, she's using really this to really explain how expensive it is to be a black and sick in the United States. You see, bill for a stroke is 25,782 USD. And 8 deaths in the US. And then I don't know why she decided to include President George H.W. Bush there. And average press coverage of a terrorist attack. These are very, very relevant visualization. You see how much attention an attack perpetrated by a Muslim gains or is given compared to, let's say, an attack done by white supremacists or something like that. And then how much you earn, then how much distribution of how you are able to spend depending on various examples. So the links there are just examples to explain for us. These are just some examples that you can be able to look at to be able to see some videos we have done with Flourish. So any questions? Now we can take some questions. Can take some questions. Any questions? Anybody with a question? Vida, do you have any question or any clarification that you need to add?
There's nothing much really. Expected questions from the participants. If they have any query, they are free to ask. And then if they don't have, then
okay. So I think what we can do is we can just go straight to the other tool, to the tool that I want us to study on today. Okay, I see there is a question in the chat box on how dashboards work. So for dashboards, the challenge with that, not really the challenge, but the aim of a dashboard is to try to really put together as many visualizations as possible. The importance of a dashboard is it gives you the ability to be able to have quite a number of visualizations all put together. And then represented, of course, on the web. It's hosted on the web. So you can really, so if you open one link, you can be able to see quite a number of visualizations. So usually it's used to represent things like, let's say, sales or coverage and stuff like that. So if you can be able to get sales on, let's say, by region, by products, by revenue generated by the sales individual, you can really be able to use a dashboard to be able to display all that kind of information together. I'm not sure I understand Elkana's question. Do we have some who will develop these tools? So what do you mean? Like, are you asking those who will use the tools, or what is your question?
I don't know whether it's the way I'm understood, but it's like I asking you maybe who developed these tools or something like that, because the tools are already developed, they're already there. I think that's what was.
So I'm not sure I understand Elkana's question.
Elkan, I think
really the point
elaborate
is
more on your question.
Are you speaking, Moses?
Yes, yes. I was trying to tell Elkana to elaborate his question at least so that it's understood well. Hello? Hello?
So for word cloud, you can be able to do word cloud on voice. I'm answering Christopher's question. You can be able to do a word cloud on voice. Any other question?
I think you can continue, Steve.
So we are just going to continue. What I want us to do now is I want us to go through Datawrapper. And I see Bida had done an example before. I saw him displaying some of that. So you're just going to go through the Datawrapper. And before we go to the app itself, just for us to go through the introduction.
If there's a question, maybe you'll answer along the way.
I'm just going to go through Datawrapper. So just going to go through the introduction, and then we are going to go to the tool itself. So this is an introduction to Datawrapper and its core features, responsiveness over effects, themes, and pricing and users. So we are not going to go through the whole PowerPoint presentation because it has quite a number. It's about 70 or 80 slides. We're just going to go through some of it, and then we can be able to go to the tool itself. So this is how it looks like. So it has the ability to be able to visualize several things. I'm able to visualize charts and tables. You can be able to visualize maps. You can be able to do line charts and stuff like that. And then, of course, it's just a dashboard explaining. You can be able to use your Twitter handle to be able to explain your points. This is how the interface looks like. Once you have logged in, once you have been able to create your account, and it's web-based, so you do not need to download anything. As long as you create your own account, it's web-based, so wherever you go, you can always be able to access it. So this is how it looks like. So it has a button for adding a new chart, button for adding a new map, new table, a team charts, a river. Then of course now you can, once you have created a new chart, can be able to go through these sequences. So from uploading the data, from checking and describing your data to ensure that it's in the correct format, visualizing. So this is where other customization comes in. We're going to look at it as an example, then finally publishing and sharing or embedding on your website. So it's based in Berlin, Germany. This is their office. These are their teams. So a key feature of Datawrapper is that its visualizations are interactive. So you can be able to really go through it. So you can be able to zoom, click on it, you see it explains, you see it has a responsiveness to be able to increase the size. If you want to narrow down and say on specific countries and stuff like that, then you see now also for the carbon dioxide concentration by decade visualization. Then it's responsive for all screens, laptop, tablet, and phone. You see, it does not cut off some areas and stuff like that. Because responsiveness is a big thing. So these are just examples of how they were able to put explanation. So these charts made by the New York Times. So they do the chart and then they explain using the text. So other examples, so different design themes are in use. So you see this is the same visualization, but we are using different themes. You can be able to change the background, you can be able to change the text color, and you can be able to see how you can be able to have an effect for its specific title. Then some of its customers, pricing. So pricing is, there's a free plan to create and publish unlimited charts, maps, and tables, PNG, export, and collaborate with teams. So let's say, for example, if you are trying to for something, or you want your organization to start using a collaborative tool for data visualization, you can be able to use Datawrapper. And custom, so it gives you that's the cost. It's quite expensive. One custom theme, not Datawrapper distribution, collaborate with up to 10 users. Then you can be able to have several other options. Then, of course, for the enterprise. Then those are just some other examples. So basically, that is it for the introduction part. Just wanted us to go through it like that, so that we go to the interface. So this is the interface. I have already logged in. So I hope you guys can be able to see. You can be able to see my screen. So this is the interface. I have already logged in, and so when I log in, this is my account. So you see now it just gives me a list of all the visualization I've made. Then of course now we have the dashboard, we have the button for creating a new visualization, and then we have the archive. So you see this the archive just gives you a list of how you are able to go through each of them, like the visualization that you are able to go to create. So I just want us to go to this part that says create new. Just going to create each of them. See, we have line charts, bar graphs, we have a map, and then we also have some point graphs here. I'm just going to go before we do the examples. I just want to go through some other parts. So this part highlights for you those visualizations that have been edited recently, and it gives you a timer. So it's 0 charts in the chart views in the past 30 days. Then of course they have their own job advertisements, so you guys can check them out. Then we have the Datawrapper River. Possible, I was almost running there. So this gives you the ability to browse a free collection of reusable charts and maps, or open your own charts for reuse, read more on blog posts, or frequently asked questions. So you see now these are coronavirus cases in the US, 2020, confirmed cases. Then of course it's in some articles in German, how expensive is your fare, stuff like that. And of course, now it gives us a highlight for latest improvements. So basically, that is how the dashboard looks like. So what I want us to go through now is for the remaining minutes, I'm just going to go through each of them. Just going to go through a chart, map, and a table so that you can be able to see how you can be able to go about it. Just come to the button for create new and then create a chart. And you, of course, you have to upload your data. So there are several ways you can be able to upload your data. You can copy and paste your data table. So what you do is, if you have data, you can just copy to the clipboard, and then you come here and then you paste your data. You can also upload a CSV or an Excel file and connect a Google Sheet and link to an external data. Or if you just want to try Datawrapper, here's a list of some examples of data sets you can use. I just want us to pick one data set here for line charts. So you see that here it gives you a list of each individual visualization. It gives you an example of the data set that you can be able to use. So you see, once I select, let's say, global CO2 emissions, or we can start with the line charts. How the iPhone shape Google. And then once you have uploaded your data, you can press proceed and check and describe. So check and describe gives you the ability to make sure that your data looks straight. So ensure that the tool interprets your data correctly. In the table, number columns should be blue. So these ones. Dates in green. So you see dates in green, text in black. Then a red cell indicates a problem in your data that needs to be fixed. A dash cells contains no data. Then of course, the first row is always for labels. So what you can do is you can just go through your data. You can do several things. First of all, and be able to sort the view by quarter, by iPhone, by iPad, by iMac, by iPod. So the sort view part is a list of the columns in your data table. So you see now you have this list by quarter, by iPhone, by iMac, by iPad, by iMac, and iPod. And then you can be able to search, of course, if you need to check something. You can be able to transpose, so sort rows and columns, and be able to add a new column or something like that. So you see, you can really be able to do quite a lot on the check and describe segment to be able to really highlight and improve the data so that your tool can clearly be able to interpret it in a way that is appropriate. And once you're satisfied with how your data looks like, you press proceed. And now we come to the visualization part. You see, we have it provides us with a whole lot of quite a number of options. You see, now we can select which chart type we want. Remember, we selected data that is for line charts, but you can still be able to make it a bar chart. See, it's loading. But then now it may not be appropriate because of how the data is arranged. You see, it will have so many of them, so many of the years blank, and then a lot of quite a long visualization can have a group bars. So the point of that is it gives you the abilities. You can actually be able to just group your data in a way that is appropriate. I'm going to take us through an example that I did for group bar chart so that you can be able to see clearly how you can be able to group your data in a way that is very appropriate. So let's say we choose the lines. This is the initial visualization. And also be able to choose all these other visualizations. And then once you have decided the visualization that you want, you can refine. So you can switch horizontal axis. So select column for horizontal axis, custom range, custom ticks, tick formats. So these are the tick formats. The grid lines you can show or height. See, show height, tick marks as customized. Vertical axis. Do you want the grid lines to be in linear format or in log format? So tick marks are displayed down here. You see how they are displayed. These are the tick marks. And then of course you can also be able to customize your colors. So let's say I want to change the base color and have, let's say, red. You see it automatically changes how all my colors are displayed. Automatically changes how my colors are displayed. So it really gives you the ability to be able to really customize your colors and be able to choose the dashes. So let's say, for example, if you want to highlight a specific product from the rest of the products, you can be able to really have, let's say, its own lines being separate and different from the rest. You can, let's say, line width, line dashes. So you see, you can be able to have, you see, you can be able to have some that are dotted, dotted lines, and then the rest are not dotted, depending on how you want to customize your visualization. So it really gives you the ability to really be able to create the highlight that you want to pass out to your customers. And of course, the interpolation, don't have to miss on that. And the line labels at the top. You see, those are the line labels, or can put them at the right side. So these are the line labels. See, this is a label for the iPad line. This is a label for the iMac. This is a label for the iPod. You can put them at the top, at the bottom, or none. And then draw lines connecting lines and labels to lines. So something like that is an example of let's say this one. This is a classic example. So these are the lines connecting. These are the lines connecting the line label with its own individual line. You see, if I click on that, it highlights just that iPod visualization. But then if we do not draw lines, you see there is no that line. That line has disappeared. So you can really be able to customize it as much as possible. Then label margins, then show advanced options, customize tooltip, formats. You can really be able to do quite a lot of examples, quite a lot of customization. You can fill area between lines. You can have align symbols and stuff like that. You can really do quite a lot of customization. And then once we have refined the visualization, we are satisfied with how it looks like. We are satisfied with how it looks like. Now we can come to annotate. So this is just the labels and just be able to use titles. So we'll say here product sales. By year. Okay, that's how you add your title. This is the description. So this is the description that's down here. Then the notes. And in case you need to put the notes, can be able to
give the data source and then the link, and then of course who created your chart. So let's say here, then you can see chain, something like that. And then of course now immediately once I have created that, it's able to, you see it's explaining here that chart by Steve DHN, then the data source name, then the link, then created using the tool Datawrapper. So you can really be able to customize. So you see now down here also is where the notes are. Apple stopped to report iPod sales at the end of 2014. So you can really be able to customize your tool as much as possible. I want us to move a bit faster because of time. Then of course now you can be able to change the layout. So most of these are things like the theme. You can enable the to be downloaded. You can image download options. So these are the options that you can be able to have. So, but remember for the free version, you can only download the PNG. Then you can embed your link. Then of course you can share social media buttons. So share chat URL, manually enter URL, share site chat is embedded in. So let's say for example, if you want to share your Facebook or stuff like that, you can always be able to include them there. So that's how you customize your tool. And of course, down here at the bottom, you can also be able to do some customizations. You can be able to alter the size. Let's try and see. You can do this one. Says 10,000. 65,000. You see, automatically it's much smaller. So you see now you can be able to also customize your even worse. I thought we are reducing the size. It seems to be completely even worse. Oh, okay. I had put 50,000. That's why. Just wondering what's going on. So I put 1,000. Okay. So now our visualization is much more compressed and easily be able to move. Let's put here. Let's say 800 by say 700. You see, you can be able to increase the size of your visualization depending on what you want to achieve. See now can be able to really make it as small as possible, and then you can be able to share it like that. So can check how it looks like on the phone, check how it looks like on the tab, check how it looks like on the computer. Then for a colorblind check, can also be able to do the color mode. I'll show you. Yes, now it's working, the color mode. Can also be able to put dark mode. You see, you can really be able to customize your visualization as much as possible. Light mode. You see how you can be able to really even check the color blind of how it looks like. So once you have, I want to show something here. So these tools can be able to share. I'm not very exact on how you can really be able to. Oh, okay. Gives you the ability to actually post your visualization on. You see, it has automatically opened my Facebook page. And then now it gives me the ability to be able to share it on Facebook. So that is what the use of those buttons is. Trying to move it. You can post it on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or on Twitter. Then once you have designed it, you can publish and embed.
So it gives you several options. Either publish as a link using the publish now button, or you can be able to export or duplicate your visualization. So you can, if you want to just export, just download a PNG image, automatically download it. You see it gives you the specification of the static image that you want to post. You can alter the width, you can work on the border, you can include full head and footer, just include the chart alone. See, that's just the chart. But then you can also include the head and the footer and make it transparent, the background, depending, of course, on the kind of background you are chosen, or can be able to include it. And then once you have customized it, so really the essence of this tool really is customization. It gives you maximum control over what you can be able to do. And from this, we can be able to say that we have been able to really move from the beginning of the end of the data set until the point where we have the visualization. And of course, you can just download the image. Okay, you see, you have moved from the beginning of the visualization up the end, from uploading the data to publishing and embedding. Then now we can be able to just open our image. I'm not sure if you guys can be able to see the image I have opened, but it gives us the ability to really be able to customize the visualization as much as possible. I just want us to go through, because we have about 15 minutes, just want us to go through creating something else. So from the dashboard, you see now the tool the visualization had made has been automatically added to my recently edited visualizations. So I want us to do a map. So there are different maps. So we have croplet, which is used to color regions to show data like unemployment rates, and then a symbol map, then allocator map. I just want us to do the first one. I'm not sure if they provide the data set for that. Okay. We hope that they provide the data. Let's just, I'm not sure if they have for Africa alone. Since they don't have, okay, let's search for Africa. Okay, good. We have a map just for Africa. Then we proceed. So this has provided us a value. So let's just, because we do not have the data to upload, just want us to fill it with random data. So you do not have a data set, you can come at the bottom here and fill the table with random data. So you have pasted data into the table. So you see now here we have the map which has already appeared, how it looks like. It has been automatically added the values. So I just want us to visualize the graph, just add a few customizations and stuff like that, so that you can be able to really look at how you can be able to make something very relevant on that. So, okay. Let me just take the values. So the values is for the column that we are using to do the coloring, because you see here our data has only two values, the names and the values. Those are the only two columns that we have, because the values were randomly generated. Then we can be able, of course, to choose the palette that we want. So let's check a much more lighter palette. And then, of course, you see now gives you the ability to really customize it. If you want the color scale to be continuous or to be stepped, you see. So for steps, what it does is it groups your data. You see now up here, the data is grouped according. So we are like kind of making a histogram of our map. But then if it's continuous, you see it's just from 1 to 100. And of course, the interpolation, custom range. Then we can show the legend. It's important to sometimes show it. We can make the map zoomable. So where do you want us to place the button? So the button is this part down here. So let's put it top right, so that it's very easy for someone to be able to locate it. You see, I can be able to zoom in. So if I zoom in, and be able to move it around. So if you have actual data that you are trying to display, it really gives you the flexibility to be able to actually just move around your data. Then of course you can hide regions without data, but now here we do not have regions that do not have data. So what we can do is on the data part, we can have, let's say, Algeria, no data. Then we come to visualize. You see Algeria automatically disappears. Let's say, for example, we have another country like Burkina Faso, which is in the middle of the continent. Burkina Faso should be able to disappear. It didn't move it. Okay. Be able to have disappeared. This is still showing it, but it will disappear. So, but then if we disable that part that says hydrogen without data, you see they are marked gray. See a country like Zimbabwe, not Zimbabwe. What country is that? Oh my God, I forget that. Oh, Botswana. I'm wondering which country is that. See, Botswana did not have any values. It's Botswana that I had removed, not Burkina Faso. It's Botswana I had removed. You see now that we have not hid it, they are colored gray. Then map alignment to the left, right, at the center. Usually it's important to put at the center. And then of course now we have, once you have customized your colors, you can annotate. So add your title here. So let's say rainfall. I'm just adding a random title. Rainfall distribution by country. You see, it's adding the title in real time. So let's see. Then say 3020. Just using some random title. This is let's say after aliens, and just adding a random description so that you guys can be able to see how it will appear. And of course, the notes is at the bottom, and then the data source, the attribution of the individual chart, and then the map labels, and be able to show them. So we're labeling by places or by column. Then you can select the column, let's say the TW name. Should be able to have every country labeled but sometimes it's not advisable. What we can do is we can just label by places, so that we have just a few random places being labeled. Then maximum number of places, you can customize that. Let's say we can have 5. Okay, so we have Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, DRC, Nigeria. If we add, let's say, to 9, have distribution for several parts of the continent. Okay, so that just shows you really the power that you can be able to have once you start using this tool to be able to do your visualizations. Of course, you can add more places by searching for the name of a place or an address. You can add text annotations. So let's say here, and say, and type our annotations here. So let's say new question. You can of course make it bold, make it italic, you can underline it, and change the color, say that color. You can really be able to do quite a lot of, you see how advanced there. So that shows us the ability that you can be able to customize. Then I can also hide the title. You don't need the title, but I mean, one of the rules of our data visualization tool is our data visualization graph is make sure that your chart is always labeled, so do not hide the title. Then you can change also the layout. You can change alter the theme. Then you can also do the output local and stuff like that. So really that shows us the power that this tool provides for us. Bida, I don't know why Bida has not shared the attendance link. Bida, if you are still in the class, you can please share the attendance because our time is far much gone. So really what we are going to do now is just once you have customized your tool and be able to publish and embed, then of course it gives you all those abilities. Either publish as a link, download as an image, make a duplicate and stuff like that. You see our tool is zoomable. These are really cool features that enable you to really give you the power to communicate specific things that you might need to address, that you might need to display to your audience. So that marks the end of my class, unless if anybody has any question, they can be able to ask. I know we have 5 minutes to go. So if people have any questions, as we wait, we'll be there to share the class, the registration link, the attendance link.
Unfortunately, Peter's internet also has gone off, but it's okay. We can do without the attendance just for today.
Okay. Any question?
Yeah, I think there was a question.
So one thing, just okay.
I think there was a question from Chris.
Proceed.
Yeah, but I think now after the explanation, he has understood. He was asking that can the graph be printed in a picture form if someone wants to print? But I think after the illustration, it is easy now to understand. I think he has understood all. Chris, let me hope you can talk on your behalf. If there's any problem, you can still ask.
Any other question? So the link will be shared on YouTube so that you guys can be able to go and watch it again and see that you put to practice the things that you have learned. So that, especially for the two tools for Flourish and for Datawrapper, I really challenge us to be able to go out there and practice. And I'll be very, very happy, and it's going to be a good thing if I see reports from you guys and you are using the tools that you have learned in these sessions to be able to tell your stories in a much more better way, in a much more lively way. So
I have a little question.
It was nice. Oh, okay. Please ask.
Okay, yes, I just saw you right on the African map with that red side, which means it's easy to editable your place directly using the Datawrapper.
I've not gotten your question.
I meant to say, on the African map, like you wrote something, you wrote something, a new ocean poem, which means it's easier to editable a map like that. So, I mean, it's easier to editable a map like the way you do it using this Datawrapper.
Yes. There's this tool called text annotation on the layout part. You can be able to not the layout, the annotate can really be able to add your text annotations at the bottom here. I hope you can be able to see that. Can you be able to see that?
Yes,
hello.
Yes, we can see.
Using this part, which is under text, which is under annotations for the visualize part. Under annotations here, you scroll down, you're going to get this part that says text annotations. It's an annotation, and then you can do to just add the text. So yes, it's easy to edit on your map and add explanations and stuff like that. Any other question? Any other question? So I think we can end the class there. And it was a pleasure having you guys in the class. I'm going to send an assignment on our WhatsApp group right away. But I'll just add the assignment here before we leave.
Hello.
So hello. So I've added an assignment on our WhatsApp group. Yes.
Yeah.
You have a question?
I was asking. I was kicked out by internet, but is it possible to print direct from Flourish?
Do what? Your line is breaking, man. Moses, can you try and get his question?
Okay, but I'm also not hearing him clearly. Let me try to hear. Let's first give him a chance to talk again.
Yes, please. Yes, I was asking. I was kicked out by internet.
Yes. Go ahead, you ask Chris.
I think you are not getting me right.
Your line is breaking.
Sorry.
Hello? In fact, you can ask the question in the group because of time, so we can release other people that might need to go. Is that okay? Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes,
It
Steve.
seems that, yes. So I'm saying that he can ask his question in the WhatsApp group so that we can have more people getting their answer, and also we can release people from the call because of time. I see that we have already gone past our time. So I think we can end the class there for now, and then I look forward to having people submit the answers for the assignment. That is very key. Just make sure that you are able to submit your answers. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for everything. Then to the members, as Steve has said, let's try to put whatever he has taught us into practice, because if we don't do so, we shall forget as soon as it's off. Have a very good evening. Let's meet on Thursday. Chris, you type your question in the group, in the WhatsApp group. You'll get the answer from there later on.
I see that he has put his question there. He's asking if you can print directly from Flourish. But I don't think you can really be able to print. You can only be able to have two options to share. You can download as an image your visualization, or you can be able to share as a link that people can be able to just click on and go directly to the visualization. And then you can also be able to embed on your website. So you cannot be able to print directly from Flourish. All right, guys, I think we can end the class there for now and have a nice evening.
Right.